What's up everybody, it's RobinGaming here. So now that the E3 2017 hype has hopefully kind of settled down with you all, I mean it was a couple of very hectic days for me personally, but nonetheless, you know, I had a blast with it. It was very fun to do, and despite, I think, looking back at it now, E3 2017 being a little bit of a disappointing E3, not that we didn't have like our standout titles and stuff, of course, like every year we did, but in general I look at it in the way that, well, there weren't really many press conferences that actually surprised or really delivered on the promises that we all had, so it was a little bit, yeah, of a disappointing E3 sadly, but like I said, nonetheless, I look back at it very positively. It was a very fun time, and yeah, what I pretty much tried to do is make a top 10 list of my favorite games at E3. Now, I want to quickly say, this list is not necessarily based on like the quality of the titles or you know, like, I've even left a couple of games out. Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor, or Shadow of War I should say, is for example not in it. It didn't really impress me like that much. It's just a game I want to play, but what I saw now new at the show and stuff, yeah, I wasn't very impressed by or something like that. And the same kind of maybe counts for, like, you know, Super Mario Odyssey, and there were a couple of other games that look cool and I'm definitely gonna play them. And don't get me wrong, some of them, like Shadow of War, will be on top of the most anticipated games list for me, but this list is really based on games that impressed me, where I walked away with a very positive feeling of like, well, what I saw now actually really impressed me, and I'm looking forward to the game more to play now than I was before even. So I guess that's really what this list is. So let's actually get into it. I couldn't even therefore find like a 10th game. I was trying to make a top 10. I couldn't even find a 10th game. I have 9 games pretty much that I walk away from very positive, where I was like, yeah, those games definitely impressed me. So let's just get into it, right? Number 9 is a very quick, you know, pick that I'll talk about very briefly. Wolfenstein II. This game was announced at the Bethesda press conference, and really the reason why I picked it is because it made me think about the fact that I still need to play and beat Wolfenstein 1, because I actually never got around to it. I played like half an hour to an hour of that game, you know, was feeling it not really that much yet, but the second game, the trailer of it looked really awesome. I love the style of it, the graphics were insane on it too, by the way, and it just reminded me that, yeah, Wolfenstein is of course a first-person shooter, very story-driven, and that's what I personally love. So now I just got the feeling walking away from it that I need to still play Wolfenstein 1, beat that game before I play the second game, and I'll definitely make sure to do that before it comes out. So that's what I put at number 9. At number 8, also a pretty easy pick. Assassin's Creed Origins. Of course, you know, I've been, you know, I wouldn't necessarily call myself an Assassin's Creed fan. At the same time, I definitely don't dislike the games either. It's always been a little hit or miss. There have been some Assassin's Creed games, like mainly 2 and 4, that I loved, that I put so much time into, and then a couple of other ones that were just, you know, kind of whatever to me, more of the same, I guess. And with Assassin's Creed Origins, now that they have taken such a break, and me personally as well, I think the last one I played was Unity, of course, in 2014, I think, so I did not play Syndicate, and they did take a 1-year break after that too, so it's about time for a new one, you know, for me to play a new one, I guess, and that's what's so awesome about it. And this new one also looked great, love the setting, Egypt looks just fantastic. I think the team, you know, the team that made this one made Assassin's Creed 4, so I really have high hopes from the game. I also liked some of the gameplay innovations. The combat system is different, the way they changed the eagle vision, you actually now have literally an eagle flying on top of you and stuff, which is awesome. So I like the things they did with it. I'm ready for a new Assassin's Creed game, and that's why I put AC Origins at number 8. At number 7 I put Anthem, and Anthem, you know, might not necessarily be like super innovative in like gameplay wise. This is BioWare's take on Destiny, it really seems, but I did like what I saw, and especially, I mean, the graphics. This is probably the best looking game I've seen at E3, and of course graphics aren't everything, but still it's something that impresses you, right? So that's why I put Anthem at number 7, but also I liked some of the gameplay things they've shown. You know, the setting looks cool, reminds me a lot about Horizon and stuff, but I love jungle environments, and that's really what this thing offered, while at the same time you had that sort of like jetpack gameplay where you were flying through the world before you actually land on the planet, and you know, at that moment of course it does just become your typical kind of third-person cooperative shooter, but it looked really cool. I liked what I saw there. I'm interested in the game. I'm definitely gonna play that once it comes out, although I think that's gonna be still quite a while. So at number 7 I put Anthem. Now at number 6, I did not expect to put put this game that high, you know, coming out of E3 2017, but at number 6 I put Days Gone. What can I say? I said it so many times already, I was not very impressed by Days Gone last year. I actually thought it was one of the worst looking games Sony showed at E3. Once again, not to take away anything from the game itself, it was more that we saw so much awesome stuff there that Days Gone paled a little bit in comparison, but I really liked what I saw this year at the Sony press conference. The game simply looked a lot more polished, the graphics were better, I liked what they did as far as gameplay goes. They showed some more of the world, the motorbike gameplay looked cool. You still had a gigantic amount of infected or freakers, I think they call them, kind of raiding this camp or whatever was going on. It looked awesome, and also we saw a bit more of the story unfold, the conversations that were happening. So in general, I walk away a lot more positive from Days Gone. I actually really want to play it now. So what can I say? I was just impressed a lot more by this year's Days Gone demo compared to last year. Then at number 5, now this is a game that that was pretty much a remake announcement, one of the, if not the biggest announcement at the Sony press conference. Shadow of the Colossus is coming back, and this is a game that I tried to play for like half an hour to an hour very recently on PlayStation Now. It's just not the way you want to experience that game. Also, it is a PS2 game, so it is a little bit outdated in the way it looks, and also the controls, of course, also a huge issue with The Last Guardian that came out last year it was. So, you know, Shadow of the Colossus, I wasn't really feeling it as much playing it on PS Now recently as somebody who never played it originally when it came out. Now that I've seen it, this remake got announced, man, I'm so ready to play it. Once again, I love The Last Guardian. I loved what they did there as far as the style goes and the way it tells its story. And I know Shadow of the Colossus does a very similar thing, of course, both games by Fumito Ueda. So, this announcement, you know, just excited me. I can't wait to now play this remake. They already said the controls are going to be a bit better. The game, of course, did look gorgeous as a remake. So, number 5, Shadow of the Colossus, definitely very much looking forward to that. Now, at number 4, I'm going to put Spider-Man. And also a game that I wasn't maybe that excited for, because I'm not a big superhero guy. I don't like those movies that much. Although I do think that, you know, Spider-Man lends itself, and superheroes in general lend itself so well for video games, because you just get those epic powers. And so I thoroughly enjoyed the Infamous games. I really enjoyed the Batman Arkham Knight that I played in 2015. And this Spider-Man game kind of looked like it took some inspiration from those games. It had that Batman Arkham Knight combat system, while at the same time the web slinging through the city looked absolutely awesome. Very fun. I love games with momentum and stuff. That's really what Spider-Man offered. And I just think that gameplay wise it's gonna be a very fun game. Some people were a little, you know, like concerned with all the quick time events that we saw. I didn't necessarily have that much of a problem with it, because that does make for some really epic moments, right? So I liked what I saw. Spider-Man is going to be a very fun game to play for sure, so that's the one I put at number 4. Now at number 3, I really struggled with my top 3 actually, but at number 3 I put a game that is pretty much the biggest kind of like, really the game that I was most surprised by, because it was a new announcement and it happened at the EA press conference. I could not have imagined like my most exciting new announcement coming from EA, but it was A Way Out, of course, a game that just seems to be heavily inspired by the games I love, you know, Uncharted mainly. The creator himself admitted that he's a big fan of that series, and this just looked like an indie game type of Uncharted. It's made by a very small studio, but of course still published by EA, so technically not an indie game, but about these two guys, very story driven. They try to escape from prison, a huge adventure, I guess, aspect of it. You know, you see stealth gameplay, a little bit of combat in there apparently, some puzzles, some platforming, just had a bit of everything, while at the same time being very innovative in the way that you have to play the game split screen. And that's a ballsy move in my opinion, you know, the fact that you do that you can only play the game with another player together, whether it's on the couch or online. I was just really digging the game. A Way Out surprised me a lot, and this is a game that I'm now very much looking forward to playing when it comes out. I think that's going to be next year, so definitely, you know, the biggest surprise at the show at E3 2017 for me was A Way Out. Now then we go to number 2, very safe bet, I don't need to say too much about it, Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. What can I say? I'm a massive fan of the series. The game looked gorgeous. I love what they're doing with the setting already. Hell, I was even very excited now for the story with Chloe and Nadine. We didn't really know what to expect yet, but when you see those couple of moments happening when Nadine punches Chloe and stuff, and you're already wondering, wow, what is gonna happen there? There's gonna be some struggles in that relationship, you know, so I can't wait to see how that's gonna play out. But at the same time, man, the settings just look so gorgeous. I love that they're going to India now, where they're gonna have those settings that remind me a little bit more of Uncharted 2, of course, where they had the whole, you know, Nepal, Tibet kind of style going on. Yeah, like, what can I say? I mean, the game looks gorgeous. It's my game, it's my franchise, it's my series. Uncharted The Lost Legacy is gonna be, you know, most likely the final thing we'll play from Uncharted in a very long time. That's sad to realize, but at the same time, this looked absolutely awesome, and I can't wait to get my hands on it in just 2 months from now, so we're already getting very close to it. Yeah, I can't wait, what can I say? And then at number 1, now, it's pretty crazy, but the more I see of this game, the more hyped I get for it, and it's seriously slowly working its way up to just being, you know, I would almost call it my most anticipated game at the moment, and I'm seriously starting to doubt between if I'm looking forward more to this, to Red Dead Redemption, to The Last of Us. Like, I'm just constantly making my mind up what I'm looking forward to more. I don't know, I'm looking forward to them all, of course, but at number 1, I'm putting God of War, and I already loved what they did last year, because pretty much God of War is a series that I myself wasn't really into that much. I mean, I never played the PS2 game, sadly, so I got started with God of War 3 literally very recently on the PS4 with the remastered edition. Very fun game to play, loved the scale and the boss battles. The game kind of lacked the story that I really cared for, you know what I'm saying? And of course, maybe that was partially also due to the fact that I played it so late and that I've only played God of War 3. But nonetheless, when I saw God of War being announced last year at E3, I just loved what they did with the fact that they went into the more story-driven approach, where it is about the character relationships. Kratos is just becoming more of a likable guy, or somebody who I really care for his story now, while at the same time the graphics are gorgeous. It has the more upfront combat, more third-person camera aspect, of course, and I already walked away last year from God of War being like, man, I absolutely can't wait to see in what new direction they're going with this. Now that I've seen, of course, the new trailer again, it showed some more settings, everything looks gorgeous, the final reveal, you know, the story looked very interesting too, of course, with the boy and everything what's gonna go on there, but especially at the end when you had that reveal of the world serpent, this massive kind of snake creature, right, where the story literally is, he's called the world serpent because he's so tall, or so long, I guess, that he can just wrap himself around the world and literally, you know, touch his head with his own tail, pretty much. And that's just crazy, you know. I can't imagine if that's gonna become a boss battle ultimately, even though he offered his help in this trailer. If that's gonna become a boss battle, man, I already know that's gonna be absolutely epic. But yeah, God of War, I'm just looking forward to it more and more, to the point where, man, I would just start calling this, yeah, easily one of my most anticipated games, if not, you know, the most anticipated game at the moment, because, like, you know, yeah, I just love the direction they're going into with it, and this trailer once again impressed me so much, to the point where I'm very ready for it. Love the soundtrack too. What can I say? God of War is going to be absolutely epic, no doubt. So, with that being said, yeah, this was pretty much my top 9 games at E3 2017, so, let me know pretty much what are the games you are looking forward to most, I guess, or the games that simply impressed you the most at E3. That's really what this list was meant to be. The games where now I walk away from them being like, you know, I'm looking forward even more to them than I was before. Yeah, or there were simply, of course, new announcements that blew me away. So, some games, once again, I didn't include. Detroit and stuff still looked cool, but not as impressive as last year's demo. And I already mentioned a couple of games in the beginning of the video that I could have put them on this list. I'm still looking forward to them, but this is simply the top 9 games really that impressed me at E3 2017. So, with that being said, it was a long video, but I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. Thanks a lot for watching, and hope to see you again next time.